Back in 2021, I had an opportunity to review key owners of a variety of highly successful glamping businesses to figure out what their secrets for success were. This is not to be ignored, as I have seen many fail over the years, so this episode is designed to make sure you're not one of them. So, what exactly are the elements that help accelerate your success? And can you measure yourself against them to see how you are performing? This is episode 4. Welcome to the Glamping Americas podcast, the place for inspiration about the business of upscale camping, glamping, and luxury outdoor guest accommodations. I'm Sarah Riley from the Glamping Academy, and I'm working with my friends at the Glamping Show Americas to share everything you need to know about new trends, events, business models, and investment potential in the rapidly growing world of luxury camping that delivers an experience. Interest in this industry is exploding, so if you want to be the first to find out what's hot and what's not, subscribe here and check out the show notes for more exciting news and links. And be sure to add the next Glamping Show Americas to your calendar for the 3rd and 4th of October near Denver, Colorado, and I'll see you there. I can't wait. I don't know about you, but I am always curious about what makes one business successful, and yet another one tries to do the same thing and they just go down the pan. What is it that makes that happen? Now, some might just say, oh, but they had a great idea, or they hit a trend just at the right time. Or, well, in their country, it's different because in their country, X, Y, and Z, insert your reason here. But actually, I think there's a reason for why businesses are successful and why they're not. Over the years, I've always been a curious spectator of lots and lots of businesses setting up, lots of businesses succeeding, and unfortunately, quite a few other businesses failing. In fact, most of the people who come to me and have the biggest grudge about why they are failing, they're usually the ones that are showing me the reasons they're failing, and it's usually with them more so than it is with the idea that they're trying to develop or the customers they're trying to reach. So I put this little list together of elements that I've seen, that I've witnessed, that really does help to accelerate success in the glamping industry, that I'm hoping you can measure yourself against just to see how you are performing under each of these categories. And where you might need to do a little bit of extra work, then you'll know that you'll need to do that. Or if you think, yeah, I've got a tick, I've got a thumbs up in this area, then it's fine. Then you're doing great. So almost more than anything, this is about helping to build your confidence in what you're doing and the skills and so on that you have. So the first thing I always see in those people that are the most successful is that they always talk about their ideas. It might seem like a really simple thing, but I cannot tell you the amount of people who say they're not quite ready to talk about their plans yet. They're not quite ready to put it out there into the ether. I'm not talking about on social media or on, the internet or on a website or anything, but actually to talk about the ideas amongst friends, colleagues, people that you look up to, anyone that gives you a bit of guidance, your mentor, any gurus that you're actually using for coaching or anything like that. Talk about your ideas, because it's amazing how that can really help to solidify your thoughts on what direction you want to go in, what you want to do, and so on. The next thing I would suggest, which goes hand in hand with that, is to invite feedback. And when you get the feedback, to listen to the feedback really, really closely and to act on it. Many people don't do this, and it's probably because you actually have to be quite brave to ask for feedback, to invite feedback. Everyone's worried about being criticised. Everybody's worried about what people might see from their perspective about their ideas. But actually, a different perspective is fantastic, and it's really surprising what you can learn from it. But as I said, more important than that is to listen to the feedback and act upon it. I'll never forget the time that I visited a vineyard and they were preparing their glamping offering, and where they decided to put their units was just far too close to some grapevines that they had growing on their farm. So to someone who doesn't know much about grapes, they might say, oh, well, that's okay. Surely it's a brilliant view. And I think that's what the owner was thinking. But actually, I gave feedback about the fact they weren't an organic farm. They were going to be spraying. And actually, when I asked them about their spraying routine, they told me that they were spraying at least once a week in this area on these grapes. And they said that was because the grapes would suffer from mold. So they had to spray them regularly to stop the pests, stop the mold and everything else. Well, it was just too close to where these units were. It wouldn't be safe. The units with only the smallest amount of breeze, anyone in those units would have been able to smell and be exposed to the chemicals that were being put on these grapevines. Unfortunately, they asked me for my feedback. They did not listen. The other thing that I've experienced quite often is when people have set up their units too close to each other. So noise travels. Unfortunately, canvas structures and single skinned walls do not contain the noise. So more often than not, I might feed back to someone and say, well, your units are too close to each other, noise is going to travel and there's going to be a problem. And they often think, well, there's not much noise here. It's very rural, it's very quiet, it's going to be fine. But actually, when they get the customers on site, they realize the customers make lots of noise, and then they start getting complaints from other customers who want to have a quieter vacation. So unfortunately, this is when things go wrong, when people ask for feedback, but they don't act upon it. So one of the biggest drivers for success is to invite the feedback, listen to it, and act upon it. Something else I've witnessed is that a lot of the really successful business owners are not afraid to invest in themselves. They don't see this as a frivolous waste of money. They don't see it as a way of not being able to get a return on that investment. They really see it as something to build on their strengths. Everyone has strengths, everyone has weaknesses, and knowing yours is vital. So understanding your knowledge base, understanding what you're good at, and understanding what you need to know is really important. And even for those tasks and those things that you need to outsource to other people, understanding it yourself, the core, the strategy, and what you need to do to make those things happen is really important too. Because if you don't know, if you don't have the knowledge, then you can't guide those people who are working for you. I am a firm believer that every time you invest in yourself, you will reap the rewards. In my own business, from doing this for so many years, I can see a direct link to how I invest in myself and my own self-development and the revenue that is generated through my business without a shadow of a doubt. So if my accountant is saying to me, do you really want to be spending your money on X, Y, and Z? Then I can show them in only a few months why that was so beneficial. So don't scrimp and don't save, but absolutely understand where you will get a return on your investment. Anything you spend in your business, you must understand what your return will be. So as long as you've got that firmly in your mind, you'll be fine. Now, this is something that I do struggle with sometimes myself, and I know many other people do. But those most successful entrepreneurs that I have met in this industry almost always show me that they are fantastic at taking calculated risks. This is not something that is easy to do. I totally get it. I struggle with this all the time. So one of the things that I do is I use a decision matrix. This really helps me to understand where the best decision is, because you can get really caught up in the detail. I certainly do. And that's when confidence can be lost. So if you want to be successful in business, then evaluate your systems for decision making. Take a look at the tools and everything else available for you to help you in the process. So research is obviously essential and needs to be a key part of what you do. You should weave it through actually everything that you do. Research, research, research. But then when you're done with researching, use tools that can help you go to the next step. So I've designed my decision matrix after years of working with new businesses and launching businesses and working with new owners and everything else. And I've designed it after experiencing the soul crushing times of just being paralyzed with indecision. It happens to all of us and there's no shame in it at all. But the tools are available for us. We can tap into them, use them to help. I'm sure there's probably apps now that you can use as well. There's millions of things you can do. But if you're really struggling to make decisions around the land that you want to buy or lease or structures that you want to invest in, then you can really get a lot of help from using a tool like this. I certainly do. And it can help you see the wood for the trees, and it just can get you moving again. And actually, that indecision is the thing that halts businesses in their tracks. Whereas the people who can make the calculated risks, they forge ahead, they just keep going. So they're the ones in front of you. So don't suffer with this like I have in the past. And, if you want to have a look at my own decision matrix, then just get in touch. I'll be happy to share it. So I think I should also talk about the fact that the most successful people in this industry clearly show that they understand this is not an industry where you will make easy money. Hospitality is not an easy thing to do. It is not an easy business to run. This is definitely not for lackadaisical layabouts or half-hearted business owners. This is for those who understand the need to work hard. It's for the bold, determined, those who are diligent and dynamic. There is absolutely no place in this industry for layabouts. And this is because for a time, especially during the setup process, the early days and the early trading years, you will absolutely eat, sleep, and breathe your business. But many people say, but that's okay. Because actually being all consumed like this, you are confirming your passion for the topic. You're confirming your passion for the subject and the fact that you want to put so much effort into your business. So you are definitely moving in the right direction. That's what it's showing you. So it's a really good thing. But so many times people say to me, well, I didn't realize how hard this was going to be. I didn't realize how much hard work it's going to be. Well, it's not an easy business, but it's an incredibly rewarding business. So another thing I've also noticed amongst the most successful is they're actually often the most unconventional. In fact, the weirder the better in the world of glamping. But as long as it's good weird, of course, something attracts people to it and doesn't actually repel them, at least repel them too much. So the unconventional path is often the less trodden because people see it as a little bit riskier because the concept hasn't been proven. But actually, if you have strength in your convictions and you're investing money in your ideas, your slightly crazy ideas, then this actually can be a really good risk to take. But only if you're really strong in your conviction and you feel that you've done the research and you understand that you're going in the right direction. Standing out from the crowd can really bring so many benefits, including notoriety, some amazing free PR. I've also seen it attract investment from people who have watched those unconventional business owners introduce something weird and amazing, and they want to be part of it. So instead of them having to go and look for investment, it's coming to them. And it's amazing. And they can actually measure the success of what they're doing and their unconventional approach by looking at their very healthy occupancy rates. And this is all simply because they're standing out from the crowd and they're not afraid to be different. Okay, so the final element I want to talk about is around confidence and self-esteem and everything else like that. So it's not easy to be confident and it's not easy to do all of these things without feeling like maybe we have imposter syndrome, that who are we to do this? We don't have the skills, or we don't have the knowledge, or we don't have the budget, or whatever it is you feel you're lacking in. But it's really good to step out of your comfort zone. I say this all the time to everyone I support. It's important, in fact, for you to step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah, it feels uncomfortable. That's the whole point of the saying. But that's where the most growth happens, outside of your comfort zone, just outside. You don't have to take unnecessary risks, but you're not going to gain anything if you stay comfortable. the most rewards lie outside of your comfort zone. So if you're feeling a little bit anxious or nervous, then that's a good thing. It means you're pushing yourself, but don't take unnecessary risks. So it's really surprising to me how many people talk about their lack of confidence and their low self-esteem and how they feel like they're imposters. And I often start by saying to them, well, you just need to be kind to yourself. There's no reason at all why you can't be a huge success. There's no reason at all. You have to recognize your skills and the positives in what you do and what you bring to the table. You are amazing. But if you don't know something, then you can learn it. You have the power at your fingertips, especially now in the digital world, to do whatever you want to do, to make anything happen. You can build yourself a support network, and this is what I really encourage, because this is the reason for happy entrepreneurs. And I think we all need that in our life. In fact, it's the number one reason why I set up my glamping club, because a network is really key to staying happy on a daily basis. This setting up a new business, being an entrepreneur and being in a new and vibrant industry isn't something that happens overnight. And actually every week, almost every day, we need support. But we won't get that if we're off doing our thing on our own. We can dip in and out of communities. We can dip in and out of getting that support. But I also say that actually if you set yourself a challenge, you can get a lot back from that. So over time, if you take up lots of small challenges that you give yourself, this can lead you to taking lots of small steps, which over time obviously lead you to traveling quite some distance. So you just look behind yourself and you can see how far you've come. But those little challenges, each time you overcome them, that builds your confidence and it builds your conviction in what you do and what you're planning to do. But make sure that you do have that conviction. So if you're lacking confidence in your ideas, then maybe you need to think about going back to the drawing board, going back to your research phase, going back to your business plan and understanding the direction that you want to go in, and to be sure that you've got the confidence in that. But whatever you do, make sure that you're accountable and that you have integrity about what you're doing, because so many times I see people procrastinate, especially if they're caught up in decision paralysis like I am so often. But if you say you're going to do something, then do it. Have that integrity, because that's the thing that is going to bring your success for sure. But also, the one thing I absolutely must mention is that you need to look after yourself. So a lot of people in this space, people who I've supported and I come across and I talk to, they suffer from anxiety. So some complain of packing on the pounds because during times of stress, they're comfort eating. They're feeling a bit anxious. And so they're packing away the carbs and they're feeling that that comfort food is bringing them some kind of level of reassurance. But actually those carbs are bringing anxiety because of the high sugar levels. So they're not looking after themselves and they end up having higher levels of anxiety and feeling worse. So one of the things that I always see in people who do really well in business is they know how to look after themselves. They understand what they need to eat to be able to function at their highest level. They know how to make their brain work. They know what they need to do in terms of eating the good healthy fats, reducing the carbohydrates, and making sure that they have enough protein in their diet, giving themselves time to de-stress in nature and not always working. This is always so important. And when we get caught up in a project and we're so busy with it, it can be ignored occasionally. We stop looking after ourselves. It's really, really essential that we don't, because it can bring so many rewards, and more rewards than just looser fitting clothes. So how did you do? Did you measure if you hit all of these points? Are you heading in the right direction? Is success inevitable for you? leave a comment on your podcasting platform and let me know how you did. Or you can drop a line by using the links in the show notes. I'd really love to hear from you. And certainly, if you've been having some amazing success, get in touch. I really want to talk to you about your project or what you've achieved. This is a really exciting time for you, and I want to be part of that journey. But it doesn't end there. Actually, what I've done is I put together a little scorecard. So every element that I've gathered here from all the examples that some amazing glamping business owners have demonstrated was the reason for their success. I've put that in a scorecard for you to be able to put on your office wall. You can challenge yourself that every single quarter you can see how you did. You mark yourself out of 5 for each separate factor, success factor, and then you add up your score at the end. This means that you can see how you managed to perform over the year, and then if you've actually got it over a number of years, you can see if you're on a path to improving. It's a really good way of challenging yourself. It's completely free. You can download it either in the show notes or from over on the Glamping Show website. The address for that is glampingshow.us/podcast. So download the scorecard, have a bit of fun, challenge yourself, and let me know how you get on. I hope you can join me here again soon. Take care. Bye bye.